That if I may joke shortly, aside from the fact that we have experts in different fields and of course founders in different departments here as well on stage, we do have different age groups and different lifestyles for a reason. Tumawa na bigla dito eh. And the reason for that being is one thing we want to highlight is, as you said, the Wi-Fi is for everyone as well. So again, welcome to everyone. Of course now, I do have to go to Joey, of course. So what about the hierarchy of internet, of course, getting talked about? Of course now, internet has become a part of, it has become a part of a need, no, for everybody, right?
Yeah, I think it's really part of our everyday life. Parang I can't imagine a day waking up without internet. Parang whenever that happens ka, parang you kind of panic when you go someplace na wala internet, di ba? Like for example with me, no, because I have a 4-year-old, grabe yun, if you can't watch Ryan's World during the day, that's gonna be like chaos in the house. So it's very important talaga.
And all the attention will be focused on you 24/7, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can you, like, to your point, I can't imagine a time where it was like, you would have to, well, I do remember it at some point, and Cleo was laughing because she would panic, for sure, if we had no internet 24/7. But you raise a very good point, because for people who do have children at home as well, of course, now, I guess medyo nakakatito and kuya na talaga tayo, Joey, as well. But what can you say about your internet service now? How has the evolution been like as well?
Well, if you think about how we grew up to how it evolved, I remember during the time of dial-up, like kanina someone mentioned it. Remember that sound it would make, di ba, pagka mag-login, di ba, parang there's that weird sound. You know, in my community in Dadbud, we talk about a lot of nostalgia. No? It's a big topic, and it's something that we always share with our children. Back in the day, you know, back during the dark ages, we used to, like, she doesn't even know what dial-up sounds.
Oh, she doesn't. We talked about this earlier.
Hindi na niya naabutan yung dial-up. So, talagang galing ng evolution na to now, di ba? The 5G, like we have its own. Yeah, so I guess the evolution is really more towards it. It's really being part of our everyday life.
So, but you did mention, of course, that just the sound of dial-up, right? I don't know if you've seen that meme online that there's a sound that's separated by a generation. It is that beeping sound of dial-up. If you don't know, yes. If you don't know what that sound is, it means our age gap is pretty far apart. All kidding aside, of course, but it just goes to show the evolution, of course, of how technology has grown in the Philippines. Now, Sir Art, you did talk about, Red Cap as well as, because we talked about evolution of technology as well. So Red Cap and True 5G. Can you touch on it a little bit more, this Red Cap and True 5G?
So, hindi kasi lahat ng device na you would connect to the internet needs the full 5G features. So like yung nasa labas na naka-display, yung LG smart appliances. So it does not need really fast connection. So eto ngayon yun, ang Red Cap, ang gagawin to, i-reduce niya yung reduce capability para makakonect ka sa internet without disrupting your network. Before, everything connects to your network. Now, because of this technology, which is spearheaded by, of course, Huawei, dito ngayon. So, mas nagiging effective yung network mo. So, wala na yung congestion, kasi hindi na lahat nakatutok dun sa connection. So, iba na yung connection. Kasi ang network speed na kailangan mo lang naman kumonect pa sa mga IoT devices mo and wearables, well, mababa lang. So hindi ganun kabilis kailangan.
Yeah, no, it's actually a really good point as well. That's why I tried to use an example as well, sir, kanina, yung traffic sa Pilipinas, di ba? Parang yun yung frustration natin paminsan eh. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I want to make sure, and we all want to make sure everybody gets somewhere safely. But I'm sure, isn't that annoying? Malilate ka na sa opisina 5 minutes from now, pero sa harap mo, motor na tumatakbo na 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers an hour, no?
Actually, maganda yung analogy na yun na binigay kanina sa atin about traffic. You would put, itawag dito, i-compare natin yung 5G, true 5G to Skyway. And then, yung 5G Red Cap is the service road. The East Service Road, the West Service Road. Ngayon, may mga devices tayo katulad ng scooter, tricycle, na magbe-benefit sana sa Skyway. Pero hindi naman nila kayang tumakbo ng 150 kilometers per hour. So sayang lang. So anong gagawin natin? Ilagay na lang natin sila sa service road. Ano yung benefit dun sa consumer? Mas mura ngayon yung pamasahe sa tricycle. Kasi ang mahal na ang toll gate pag sa Skyway ka. So yun yung parang contrast niya na if you can afford, go for the faster, less congested Skyway. Pero may premium. Mahal ang toll gate from sa akin sa Bikutan to Balintawa, 265. Balikan, 500. Ubus na yung allowance mo, di ba? Pero if you allow other devices to use roads, katulad ng yun nga, service road, na walang toll gate, mura, pero hindi kasing bilis. Pero kaya naman kasi jeep, tricycle, scooter, 300cc and below na motor, mura, right? So I would say na that's the biggest analogy na masabi ko na may cost benefit ang paggamit ng 5G RedCap.
No, but actually, that's a great analogy, which leads us to the next point, of course. So thank you, Sir Art, of course, and Abe as well, because we're talking about how the avenues of technology are different now and how it's evolved over time. Because we're going to be speaking to somebody, of course, like Cleo over here, who's benefited from the evolution and success of technology, especially 5G and RedCap. So, me and Cleo met before at a convention, and it still amazed me that a 20-year-old is an entrepreneur and a student entrepreneur, which means you rely heavily on internet. So, how has that benefited somebody who's as ambitious and hardworking as you at your age?
Super important talaga ng internet for me, sa school and sa business, especially since Hiraya Pilipina is mainly an online brand. So we're available in all e-commerce, social media platforms. And as I mentioned on the previous convention, we do TikTok lives like 24/7.
Yes.
So with 24/7 live, you really need a reliable internet connection that is fast, steady, and magagamit sa iba't ibang device. Especially since in our office, we use different rooms for the different lives as well.
No, and that raises a very good point, because if I may just bring up a point, we were at another convention as well, and she had some of her, of course, employees who were doing live selling at the exact time that you were there, which means they needed that reliable and portable internet device. But I know, like with anything, and Abe, I hate to throw you under the bus here for the next part. We are in the future now, but of course we are present now in the future, of course. But why don't we bring it back to the past a little bit, of course? Because I brought up the 2002, and the reason why is because that's when you put up Yugatech as well. So how was internet connectivity like back then?
I hope a few other people can relate with me when I say walang 2G noon. WAP pa nun, diba? Wireless Application Protocol. And I remember I was using Matrix phone, the Nokia 7110. And the data cost was like 0.0015 per KB. 25 cents per KB. Parang gano'n.
Sorry, can I say that again? 25 cents per
kilobyte.
So mag-load ka pa lang ng page.
When I loaded the homepage of Yugatech, after like 2 minutes, I got a message na naubos na yung 100 peso load ko. So, I think yung main difference dito is, ang laki nung, yung gap na yun, ano, na from kilobytes ang pinag-uusapan natin noon, ngayon, gigabytes. Gigabytes na talaga. So, gano'n na, katandaan ni Sir Art.
Gusto ko na may No,
age ngayon in gigabytes.
In gigabytes.
When were you born?
Gigabytes.
During the kilobyte era.
Well, to be fair, naabutan ko, sorry, you can pass it over here. Naabutan ko pa naman yung WAP era. But for those of you that, of course, I mean, I don't want to get too vulgar with this, but WAP means something different for the Gen Z now. Okay, it's a TikTok term. Yes, you know that. It is a TikTok term now. All kidding aside, of course, I think, Joey, you were sort of giving me a bit of a face earlier as well. You care to add to this?
No, nakakatawa lang talaga pag-usapan niyo when you look back, no, at that time when data was so, it was so big. Parang hindi mo nga ma-imagine what would you download with 1 gigabyte. I remember when emailing started. I started working in 2020, and back then, we were transferring file using a zip disk. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with a zip disk. Like if
Was zip disk before floppy?
Yes.
After floppy, okay.
It had 250 MB, no? So if I needed to transfer an FA, I would have to physically go there and transfer it, no? Pero ngayon, you know, with something like Dito Home Wi-Fi, para you could really just do it anywhere. Like, I mean, for example, no, my family, because I'm a hands-on parent, we don't believe in work from home. We believe in work from anywhere where it works. So parang sometimes I do meetings in my car, I do meetings in a coffee shop, especially when we're waiting for my son after school. So sobrang useful talaga yung the fact that you could bring your work anywhere you are. Kasi nagbago na talaga yung landscape ngayon. No? People are really looking for ways to, especially for dads, no? For parents, I'm sure some of the parents here, one of the biggest questions in my community is, how do we transition to work from home? Because everyone just wants to spend more time with their children. So I think something like this will give people more confidence to, you know, do the jump. No? Kasi takot yung mga tao ngayon because, I can't work from home kasi mahina naman internet sa bahay namin. But now, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen really soon.
No, but I do want to touch on that point that you brought up. It's like, it's not about work from home. It's about work from anywhere that it works, right? So as long as like with the Wi-Fi, of course you can work from basically anywhere. I mean, just touch. You could be in your car, and then
If you remember during the pandemic, I had a router in my car. Like I found a way to plug a DC to the router, and you know I would be driving everywhere. My wife and I would have like a Wi-Fi in the car, and I could really imagine it. Like you can have a Wi-Fi in your car. It's something that car companies should actually offer already.
No, but of course I do want to pass that question also over here to JV as well, because we're talking about being a dad. We're talking about being a tech editor as well. Do you care to add to all of this, because it's a lot that you have to do, especially on the go as well, right?
Yeah, so I have this may akong embarrassing confession. No? I'm a really weird connectivity nerd at home. So when I have a guest come on the house and they say, hey, may Wi-Fi ka? Sabi ko, yes. What do you want? Wi-Fi 5, 6, or 7? Because I have them all. So I have 2 fixed connections, and then of course yung kinig to the Wi-Fi 6. Diba? So parang I get to experience many different kinds of connectivity, right? Now, I was actually writing a piece about the problems with wired connectivity, and that I live in suburbia in the south, and apparently if there are many trees, I think 10 to 15 years ago, meron parang someone released a lot of squirrels from way back. And because wala siyang natural predators, hindi siya endemic sa Pilipinas, they're now multiplying. In fact, if you go to Alabang, may exterminate talaga because you can't get rid of the squirrel population, right? And what's happening is, a lot of people experiencing loss of signal for fixed wired connections is because of the squirrel. Kinakagat yung marks na. And dami talaga, right? So parang it makes me wonder, no matter how great my connectivity is, isang kagat lang, wala na. And this has been confirmed by the linemen, by the telcos, and by the residents, na it's really something. Now in this case, one thing I want, na we haven't talked about, the actual product, when I opened it and I took it out, I thought it was going to be a plug and play, parang router lang. You have to turn it around. When I turned it around, I found 4 RJ45 ports. So parang, wow, the possibilities of this. I can connect this anywhere. Kunyari, if your house is 2 floors, you put it sa 2nd floor, or sa balcony or somewhere, no? Para at least wala kasing signal. And then you connect a mesh network inside. So you're building a mesh network anywhere. So you can take that network anywhere you go, which I did, no? Because at home, I'm powering around 1,200 square meters. So it's me and my mom who had to get rid of her internet kasi she doesn't want to deal with the technician anymore. Diba? So this makes it so much easier for me to manage my mom. Right? So, hey, I'm probably internet. Oh, here, mom, here.
Sorry, I have to add to that, because so many people laughed when you said manage my mom.
Manage my mom. That's 50% of my job, no? Managing my mom. Kaya yung mga sinusunod ko sa Star, for my mother, how can she fix her internet, ganyan connection. So that's really an interesting game changer that I've never seen before. The fact that it's wireless, I can connect it anywhere, and I have that option of attaching or combining it with a mesh network. And plugging it in directly for my desktop kung nag-games ako, di ba? So it's very, very flexible. Plus it's Wi-Fi 6. So galing. Sobrang
No, that raises a very good point as well because because I do want to touch upon something about like let's say your mother that you mentioned, of course. So a lot of us like we live whether you live with family members, you live with people of different ages as well. One of the reasons why this is so important and easy to use is because half the time you actually spend explaining technology to other people who weren't exactly used to it being around. But with something that's basically just, oh here, use it makes it so much easier and no more managing of relatives or family members, anything the like. But I know, as Sir Art, you were looking at me earlier because if I remember correctly, I'm sure you can add to this, with being so well versed in the technology, you came from Korea. Yes, recently, yes?
So I recently came from Korea. LG invited me to Korea to showcase the technology. Hindi nakapunta si JB. so it's clear now that 5G and AI, yun talaga yung future natin. So if you will not adapt now, you will be left behind. So I was telling my friends na pag hindi ka papalitan ng AI, hindi ka papalitan ng AI. Pero, papalitan ka ng taong gumagamit ng AI. Hindi ka naman papalitan ng 5G, pero pag di ka gumamit ng 5G, ng true 5G, may iwan. So ito yung future natin. Kaya we need to adapt, we need to change, we need to accept the changes and adapt to it.
No, that's because to your point, I mean, you mentioned this one line just a couple of seconds ago, which I'd like to reiterate because there was a CEO, I keep forgetting which tech company, he said that you don't have to worry about AI actually. You have to worry about not knowing how to use AI because you will lose your job to somebody who knows how to use AI or knows how to use, internet properly. And speaking of somebody who knows how to use it very well, Cleo over here, of course, because I just don't want to put that together. You have your own business, you have a live selling, and you're also a student. So I'm sure you can add to our discussion right now as well.
No, while I was listening to the discussion
Right.
earlier, ang nasa isip ko lang talaga is, ang dali lang pala niyang gamitin. Because as a girl who's not very well versed in the cables, fiber modem, I don't even know these terms. And now that I'm living alone as well in college, I need something that is very reliable, easy to operate, and I'm so glad that Dito Home Wi-Fi can provide that for us. I mean, struggle ko talaga yung malulose ka ng connection, tapos madidisrupt yung work mo, school mo. May mga physical damage pa. Minsan, hindi ko na alam kung paano siya i-troubleshoot on my own. So with Dito Home Wi-Fi, I can just plug and play, which is super nice. Plug and play, plug and study, plug and work.
Honestly, I'm so happy you get to experience this now because for us who experience na pag may tumawag, putol yung connection mo. Or you're in the middle of playing, I don't know if I remember it was like Dota 1 or something like that, when World of Warcraft way back. I mean, I'm sure may tumawag lang, where you hear that dreaded sound, that dreaded sound. Sir Jasper, because you keep nodding away. I'm sure you care to add to some of this as well.
Yeah, it's very heartwarming to hear, no? Curious case na para people can really maximize the technology. And that's a goal naman of dito talaga. I mean, we made it really affordable to make sure even students, even first jobbers, let's say, this can be their first Wi-Fi at home or even their room. If they want to power their room, they have lots of IoTs in your room and lots of connections, then this is perfect, I feel. Na? And in the speed is great. It's like 20 times of 4G. If you're happy with 4G, this is 20 times this red cap, this one. So, and then full 5G is really over, more so, no? We also have the portfolio pala. We have a full 5G lineup, but this red cap's the star of the day because it's actually our way to democratize 5G. So, really very excited with this, especially with the younger generation. Dito is actually over-indexed in the younger generation, if you look at the studies. So, we're really appealing to the younger gen because it's next gen technology probably, and probably the pricing as well. We put value for money. We want to make sure it is affordable. Kasi that's one of the changes pala. We're talking about changes earlier, no? Since Dito entered the scene, we have actually lowered the price per gig. Okay, so that's what competition does. When competition comes in, it actually becomes cheaper and people are forced to put their best foot forward, no? And I'm sure ang panalo dito naman yung consumers, eh. So everybody's really upping their games and that's good because ang ganda ng trajectory namin ngayon, partner. Even the wins we're getting from Ookla, Open Signal, we're number 1 rated. In Ookla speed test, number 1 rated for the second straight time already. And these, importante sa amin yun because it came from consumers. The one, you grade kasi your whenever you do a speed test, you can grade your telco provider. So that's important to us, mas malapit sa puso ng mga Pilipino. And finally, yung ginawa ni Genboy na putting up all those 5G core towers, it's paying off. And that's a highway. So it's an open highway for everybody to enjoy. Okay, so let's get on it. Sayang, no? Sayang opportunity.
No, and to your point, that's what it's all there for. It's supposed to be meant for everybody as well. And I did like one of the things you said about competition. Because I forgot, there was I think a famous coach that said it, competition and necessity is the mother of innovation.
Yes.
So with that, of course, I mean, if you don't have competition, if you don't have needs, how do you look to feed that, of course, and get that approval for the market as well? But I know somebody here sought some approval informally from the audience as well. I think JV, right? You did sort of an informal survey, if I remember, or sort of a survey you did, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, based on experience, if you look at like what am I using my internet for? Probably Facebook, bit of Netflix, browsing, download, bit of mobile games. It's usually about 20 to 40 Mbps per person. But then as technology has evolved, we're really living in the future now. I turned on my Google Home app and I just realized, I have a household of 4 people, but I have 30 devices connected to my own network. Saan ang galing to? And I realized, 4 of us have smartwatches, 3 smart TVs. I have 5 robot vacuums. So they turn on at night, so they scour the area, and then, sometimes they're stuck in the bathroom. Tapos, do you talk to your vacuum? Sometimes, but nandiyan ka! Crazy though, but yeah, you tend to anthropomorphize your vacuums. But yeah, I do that. So, and then my coffee machine, my heater, my pot. So parang, you don't realize it, but as time passes, dumadami yung mga home appliances mo na are connected to the network. And this is what they were saying about Red Cap. Do they all need that fast 1 gig of no, diba? It's just turn on, turn off. Aircon turns on, aircon turns off. So that's what it's making, it's decongesting your area. Because every household now has around 30 to 40 devices already, right? So that's going to be the norm. Not what we grew up with na parang yung telepono, in-unplug ko pa parang no one can...
Pag nag-fax, di ba?
Oo, di ba? Fax tone please. Di ba? Sige. So it's different.
Party line.
Party line.
I heard that. Okay ba?
Kwento lang sa amin, Joey, yun. Kinuwento sa atin.
Gusto ko nila But all kidding aside, of course, here, I do want to pass it back to Sir Jasper as well, because I want to give you more, I mean, I know this is the next gen discussion, the conference here, our media conference, but I do want you to give more emphasis to our audience as well about Dito Wi-Fi, of course, and how it's the first and I think the very first year, because we talked about it earlier, it's other infrastructures used it, but for personal use, it's the first, right?
Yes, for home applications, yes. It has been, Red Cap has been used in manufacturing, in the industrial sector, but this time around, it's the first time, again, in the world. We double-checked this fact to make sure we can make that claim, and it is. It's the first time this is being introduced in a home context, no? And we can really leverage this technology. At the same time, of course, I think coupled with our true 5G network, the SA I was talking about earlier, plus the pricing and that open highway, I mean, it's an open book for everybody to start, writing your digital stories on. Sayang, ang ganda ng opportunity talaga. And we're really very excited on behalf of all the Dito team members who are here, who have worked so hard behind the scene. We're bringing this to you, to the Filipino. It makes us it warms our heart to get people to appreciate, and all the gurus here appreciate the technology as well. It really, warms our heart.
No, but you're touching on something that a lot of people look into, which is the potential of 5G. And I'm sure, Abe, you can touch on that as well because of Red Cap and 5G. We're looking into the full potential right now, right?
Because I remember I was seeing all of these new CP devices in the Huawei Innovation Lab in Shenzhen. And I would always ask the people there, we're not allowed to take photos or record videos. And we would always ask the people there, like, are you going to bring this to the Philippines? And apparently, it's really up to the telco to decide which of the innovation or technologies they're bringing in. No? So, in a way, ako parang impressed that Dito managed to find its way to tap into the RedCap technology.
Right, the big thing there, if I may, is our true 5G network. Because if you're NSA, you cannot.
Oh, that's right.
And since we are the only SA technology, in the Philippines, that's why we can actually leverage this, and we can take the game to a whole new space, which nobody can just enter. No other player can just enter.
No, but I do want to add to the fact that somebody's benefiting. I mean, aside from all of us here, there's the person beside me is benefiting so much from it right now. It seems like non-stop nodding your head. I mean, I'm sure there's some insights that you can talk about with this, right?
I'm actually just super excited to use this. I'm personally gonna use this myself. I'm also so excited to actually gift this even to my team members who are doing live selling from their homes, because super beneficial talaga yung home Wi-Fi for anyone, especially for Gen Z, for students, because you can just work from anywhere and have